Welcome back to the Poi and Soy podcast, everybody. Today, I will be hosting this show as we get into our first ever episode of Poi and Soy Team Huddle. We're going to talk as coaches of the volleyball world, give you guys some of our thoughts and opinions on some topical issues. And if you're a coach that's listening to this just to get some knowledge, then hey, we got that too. Welcome on in. How's everybody doing today? Along with me, as always, is Nolan Chang, Keone McKeague, and Jared Shirai. Say hello, everyone.
What up?
What it do?
Oh, stop you fuckers.
Morning, you fucker.
Oh, man. So today we're going to do like an origin story of kind of like how we all found volleyball and then obviously how this beautiful quartet of friendship kind of came together. But first, to my active coaches in the chat, Nolan and Jared, do you guys have like a funny not even funny, but just an interesting story from your week of coaching? Nolan and Jared both coach actively right now, so whoever would like to start.
Coaching due to my back. So,
Oh, well, right.
but I did let Jared know, and Keone, I think, one way. So, I mean, if any of the parents are listening to this, thanks for.
We can bleep names if we need to.
Maybe not. Don't get too specific.
The parents as a whole, I guess they were upset and a little bit perturbed. Is that the right word for it?
Sure, yeah.
That I just up and left and did my back surgery for my own health, even though they were notified at the beginning of the season during their parent meeting, like, hey, just letting you know, I have 2 herniated discs. Going to get assessed whenever it does, but I'm here until that does happen, whenever it is. And it happened in March 10th. And my head coach, because I was assistant for the girls and then head coach for the boys, she lets me know on their way back from the Vegas tournament that they just had that I missed due to my surgery. And she was like, yeah, the parents are pretty upset about that, among other things, because, you know, parents are never satisfied when whether their player or their daughter.
Are you not human? I don't understand.
I was like,
they want him out there.
Just
you're Superman.
Out there. Just, guys, I can't feel my legs.
To be fair, it wasn't. When it flared up, I had to just step away from the team. And it wasn't like I was able to notify them, hey, I'm having surgery on this day. It was 2 and a half weeks prior to my actual surgery date that I had to step away just because my flare-up couldn't do anything really.
Yeah.
Sit, lay down, nothing. So
breathe, you know.
Yeah.
The necessary things to live. All the
good stuff. But yeah, that's my fun story for the...
How dare you take your breathing that seriously? Gosh.
I mean, I can't imagine, man.
What a bad coach.
I know. How dare I?
Just
I
yell.
hope they keep that same energy when their kids get injured.
Right.
Oh, why was Susie not playing? Oh, broken leg? Who cares?
Get her
Get
out
in
there.
there.
You can play on a crutch.
And of
You
course,
limp
You can be
noodle.
libero for a week.
That'll be for another segment.
my head coach
We will
also...
cover parents in another
No,
episode.
we'll
I
cover
promise.
injuries and another
Oh,
segment.
injuries, parents. Yeah, there's going to be a
Injuries.
gamut. of
Well,
things.
yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah.
But Jared, my man, the myth, the legend, how was your week of coaching and the interesting stories you got lined up for us?
I mean, it was pretty good, I would say. For high school, we had our first league games. We had our first game, played Santa Margarita. JV played. So my JV team has 15 kids. Two of my basically starters. One's not eligible till next week Tuesday because it's a school transfer. The other one had to go on a trip.
Of course,
First week of league, right?
Of course, yeah.
He was my starting libero last year. He's one of my starting outsides. He's a good player, a good kid. So I had 13, and with 13, every school now pretty much has a JV and a frosh, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, I split them 7 and 6, right? And
Yeah.
my black squad, which is my JV team, basically has 7, so I can have a libero, and my other team has 6, so they all learn to play all the positions all the way around. Other side does amazing, goes to 3, loses 16-14. Probably should have won that game. Yeah, heartbreaker. I mean, it finished after our game, and like the whole gym was just more invested in the varsity game. It was crazy. It was awesome for the kids, you know. My side, I would say like maybe 15 points in. My middle, I just got back off an injury, gets injured. So I got my little 5'2",
man.
5'3", maybe 5'3" libero playing middle.
All the heart, man.
Oh,
It's all about heart, Jared.
Rudy.
Almost gets, no, it is. He almost gets a block. He gets a kill. Dude, the whole gym
Is that the one that
going
plays on your
crazy.
club team?
No.
No. Okay.
No. This is just a JV team. He's on the varsity
gotcha.
team.
Oh,
I got a
okay.
story about him in a little bit too.
Actually, I was going to say, catch me up a little bit. What team specifically are you guys coaching? Because I don't know what.
I'm just doing club for girls and boys.
So you're club volleyball. Okay.
High school, my day job doesn't allow me to really have much time to do anything for high school volleyball.
Gotcha.
Jared.
And then I have Orange Luther in high school. We have boys and girls. I do pro play boys 18s and then girls 17-2s at pro play as well. For
Gotcha.
Philip.
Pro Play
Okay.
is the club started by our old teammate, Philip Tomacic.
Tomacic, indeed.
Oh,
yeah,
I
good
did not know
shouts.
that.
Good
Oh, that's
shouts.
cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. But yeah, so my 5'2" middle had to end the game. And they played well. I mean, there's only so much you can do. And so we lost that. But our varsity came out to play the first night. 25-11, all 3 sets. Like, just on fire.
Hell yeah.
Then we played Survey on Friday, and everybody lost. But
Sorry, quick
it was a good game. It was a good game.
question. 'cause I know-
Isn't that just the epitome of a coaching week? We have this phenomenal emotional effort on Tuesday. Come Thursday, all they went out the door.
I had my
just 'cause you
high,
had
right?
no-
That's
Yeah.
my medium. And yesterday, my team went 0-3.
Doesn't
And,
Survey have like
to
all the
top it,
Balboa Bay kids?
Survey? No, yeah, because of Matt Marujo. Yeah.
Yep.
But and yesterday, Nolan, I guess our referee decided to call out sick because every court had a referee but ours. And so, funny story
Are you
there.
kidding me?
And I'll keep it short. I'll keep this so short. Funny story there. I'm on the podium, right? I'm just calling. I'm not calling nothing. I called 2 doubles the whole game. 2 doubles because
Yeah.
they were pretty bad. I'm letting everything go because I told the coaches straight, I'm not gonna like manipulate because I can be a tight ref. You know, I've learned how to ref. Keone knows, like freaking Auntie Pat, Uncle Wayne, them like they taught us how to ref properly, and so I can be a tight ref. And I asked the coaches before.
Oh, talk
I said,
about
"Do you
some
want me
tight
to
refs.
be-" I said, "You want
Those
me
are
to
some tight refs
Yeah.
right there that you're talking
I was like,
about.
do you want me to be? Do you want me to be like strict, or you want me to just let them play?" I was like, "What did you guys do?" They're like, "Oh, we just let them play." I was like, "Cool." So 1 double, 2 double, 1 on each side too. So it's like even. I have a parent. Oh, ref, there's a lot of spin on the ball. Lose the point. I fucking turned right to him, bro.
Purple.
I took my whistle out because I was like, "Do you want to come and do this? Because we're not even supposed to be up here." I was like, "Tell me you want to do a better job." And I was like, "Here, I'll give you the whistle." I stopped the whole fucking game. And we're interacting back and forth. And he looks at me. He's like, "No." I was like, "No, seriously." I was like, "I don't need this shit." I was like, "Here, you can come and do it. I don't want to even do it." He's like, "No, let's just play."
I see.
Ah, I see.
And
Spicy.
everybody.
How
and
the
his-
turntables?
no, and his team was winning. They won the first set.
Yeah.
The next 5 serves, the libero gets ace 3 times. They lose, and I would say they lost because of him,
Dang.
because
bro.
of that momentum change.
Yeah. That's
and then
huge.
you know what? Turns, they lose a match.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
the
So, like-
chef's kiss of karma.
Exactly.
Yes.
I was like, I don't even care
That's
if we
so
lost
wonderful.
to them. I was like, I don't even
Interesting.
care if we lost to them, but I was
Very
like, bruh.
random question because I know Jared mentioned that his JV team went 16-14 in the third set.
Mm-hmm.
What's the craziest score you guys have been a part of or seen in a third or fifth set?
35-33.
Wow.
Set.
Okay. I was like,
Beat
not
mine.
that high.
Mine was
Yeah.
29-27.
I think
Wow.
mine was
Senior
pretty
year.
close to James.
Like, it just kept going, and we're all just like, "Hey, yo, can somebody like
Just finish
somebody
the game.
I'm done, man. I'm really okay. We gotta do another one of these afterwards because we okay. You know what I
Jared,
mean?
do you ever?
I think it was
Clark, I
like
believe.
33-31. I
Yeah,
think
it
it
was
was
like-
like
mine was-
33-31 or something.
I was only like 28-26. That's you win.
In Keone in the
That's a hell
20s,
of a
you guys are in the 30s.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy. Yeah. Wow, damn.
Wow. Yeah.
Rock and roll. Well, thank you for the stories, gentlemen.
Of
Let's say
course.
my
Have
high
one
school
every
stuff.
week, don't worry.
Oh yeah, we'll all have them every week.
I was just saying, there might be more of this during those weeks.
It's just home.
Listen, man.
Oh my god. Well, my boys also started for high school this week. Club stuff still miles away from me as the director, so I don't have to do too much. But we had our inner squad scrimmage yesterday, and I had to somehow rally the troops because, of course, my team that I was on when I split the two halves of my team apart for varsity, blah, 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 we get down 2-0. And so I'm looking at my side, and I'm like, here's the deal, okay? Number one, now I got to play 5 sets. You all are trying to murder me right now. How dare you? So that got him to laugh a little bit. And then I hit him with the real thickness, and I was like, number 2, I'm not losing in my house. Do you understand what I'm saying, sons? This is also where I went to high school, is where I coach now. So,
correct?
Yes, yeah. So they were, then their eyes kind of glazed up, and I was like, I need you to understand this. I am not losing in my house. So then we were able to pull off the reverse sweep, which was nice. But like that whole experience was super fun. I had a great time. Didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would, though. Achilles felt nice.
Do you guys
so that was my fun little
alumni games?
We cannot do alumni games.
Wow, why not?
For our athletic director.
There are a lot of there are schools that do the same thing.
Yeah, it's like a liability with people coming in the gym with kids and all that. Some schools are lax, some schools aren't. You just kind of.
Hope was kind of like that too, you know. That's why they treated it more like an open gym
scrimmage,
than they did anything else.
Yeah.
So there was no liability.
Yeah.
Even if you were alumni and you don't really care, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to have an alumni game right now. Bro, trust me.
That'd be lit.
Smoke.
I know. I've been watching their little highlights. I'm like, wow.
If we assembled the Red Tails again, I feel like we would roll a lot of those kids in there without much effort.
Sprinkles, baby. Sprinkles.
Dude, all you need is Phil Lopez right now.
Lopez
doesn't even work out, and he just still jumps like 45 inches, bro. Stupid. Like, I see him at practice. I'm like, Phil, go get this ball. And I'm like, and all the kids like, wow. And I was like, bro, do you still work out? He's like,
is he still married to Lexi? Oh,
yeah, he's married to Lexi.
Weird thing.
We just burn it all on the ball.
And what is his social security number and bank account information?
Nice.
Just dox the whole
the kid
thing.
is so cute. Yeah, he was at the gym one day when we did a scrimmage with Fairmont, or an open gym with Fairmont and Cerritos, us and Troy, and Lexi came at the end, and so I got to see the baby. It was cute. Yeah, it was
Awesome. It's like
awesome.
No, he's actually dealing with depression now. It's great. Wow. Just like I was like, we're just
Flip the other end.
So sorry.
we should verify that information off pod first.
And I probably shouldn't.
Cut this out in post, right?
If you see Megan and Philip, they're expecting. Megan's already showing. So
nice.
Tomo-Chase is
Yeah.
expecting the baby as well.
Congrats
So
to Phil Lopez,
just letting you
man.
guys know.
That's awesome.
Both the Phils.
All
They're
the
gonna be
feels.
dads.
Well, all right, gentlemen, we're going to get rocking and rolling with our volleyball origin stories. Keone, I am interested to hear yours if you want to take your first crack at how did you find volleyball, and then obviously how did you get to Hope, where we all eventually linked up.
And met up.
He's maybe long.
I mean, I would say
Jared has to go last for obvious reasons.
Good Lord, it's like 30 minutes just by itself.
Oh hell! And you better get talking because we're already 15
we said
minutes in.
freshman year.
Let's start at the end of high school for Jared. I mean, Hawaii volleyball culture is pretty huge. I mean, as far as sports that are played in Hawaii, I mean, it's football, volleyball, and they're interchangeable. That's not
soccer.
saying one or the and soccer, yeah, kind of. I was like, I mean, I feel like mostly it's those two sports. Baseball's another one that kind of gets in there, but the two main sports are football and volleyball. I mean, it's the two sports that you mostly can see kids from Hawaii getting into like college and kind of like the rest of the professional sports. But
I feel like a lot of college coaches like, oh, you're Hawaiian? Come on in.
I mean, UH is basically a professional org down there with how they run their home games. Like that was
Really,
one of my coaches was like, oh my God, I just know, like I watched the UH game and like there's just people in there, like not even related to anyone. I'm like, no, yeah, bro, that's how that is. That's volleyball.
That's
they
our
like volleyball.
NFL.
But
Yeah.
think of it this way: when I went for Jared, were you there with us? No, you weren't. My senior year, we went to UH. We're a small NAI school.
Yeah,
and they fill that.
I was there.
Oh yeah,
in the stands.
Yeah. I mean,
I was there in the stands. We were the Hope Rowdies in the back, making like almost got in a fight with Josh Walker. That was us behind.
Josh Walker. I haven't heard that name in a while.
No, because when he was serving, we were in their student section.
gotcha.
all the Hope supporters. So we're behind Josh, and my friend is like, he's feeling good, we'll put it that way. And he's just ragging on Josh the whole game because we know, like, we know all the players. You know what I mean? And,
I think it's crazy, like how much of a kind of like a local fan base you guys have, even if it's just like a game against a random small school.
no,
I mean, it doesn't even have to. I think
No,
that's the
that's what
other
I'm
thing.
saying,
It doesn't even have to be the college level. For Hawaii, like Jared knows in Hawaii culture, one of the first things you always ask to somebody is, "Oh, what high school did you graduate from?"
yesterday,
Because
when we were playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. That guy we were playing with. Yeah. So a majority of the time, like high school is kind of like the way to determine where somebody. I know it's sad to say, but it helps you determine kind of where somebody is as far as like what kind of volleyball player they were. You know, like, oh, you went to this school, you must have been pretty good. You went to this school, oh, you weren't that great. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's part of it because you can have that fandom in high school sports, which we don't have anywhere, damn near anywhere else. And I think that's something, rivalries are built in high schools here in Hawaii. So that's something that's very different than most of the world. And I think that's something that kind of drives how people get into these specific sports. And for me growing up, I mean, I think we all went through that kind of time where when we were younger, and obviously times have changed now, but when we were younger, volleyball was kind of seen as like the softer sport, to put it lightly. You know what I'm saying?
It was a girl sport.
Essentially.
Yeah,
it was
the girl sport.
Try to pass it.
And if you weren't a
And still
girl,
is.
you were something else that's obviously
Right.
not very, you know what I mean? So not PC, but
Yeah.
that was basically kind of the same thing with us growing up kind of in like the late 90s, 2000s kind of time. So
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't like my first choice. I mean, I think as when I was way younger, it was basketball, but then my dad really wanted me to play volleyball because he played volleyball. He wanted me to play football because he played football. So there was like, I played almost all of the sports growing up. I played baseball as well. The only sport I didn't play, actually, because Jared just said it, was soccer. That's one sport I never did play once in my life. But yeah, so growing up, I played all of the sports. Volleyball I got into because, to be honest, the girl that I really, really liked was playing it during elementary school.
Oh, man.
Right. So, and at the time, I was very short. So for most
Say her
of the
name.
time up until high school, I was
Say her
very
name.
short. Huh?
Say her name. Put her name out on the pod.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, continuing on with that,
How short were you?
I was 4'11" until my sophomore year of high school.
Hey,
Yeah.
me too.
So for all the guys who had that late growth spurt, I literally went from 4'11" to 5'11" in my sophomore year of high school. So literally 1 foot over a summer.
That
For a
must have
long
hurt.
time, I mean, it sucked too because obviously my knees, caught a huge hit of that. But more than that, I think it was awkwardly figuring out how to change my game style for everything, even for basketball. Like you guys notice because we played basketball together a lot of times, like my shot is more of a push shot, which Nolan always mentions. And it's because I was so short for so long. I always had to do the push shot. And you kind of see it more in like girls basketball where they kind of do the push shot a lot more because they kind of have to like force the ball up. So for a long time, that was how my shot was. And growing a foot literally was like it changed the whole mechanics of it. And for volleyball specifically, I went from being a possible libero or being a libero, not possible, always a libero, being a libero to then having the chance to be an outside hitter. And I think that change was kind of like, it was huge for me because obviously, when you're playing volleyball, I mean, what's the thing you want to do the most? You know what I mean? No matter what, it's hitting. Yeah, you want to hit the damn
Except
ball.
Jalen.
Like,
Jalen loves to set the butter.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like if you're born with butter hands like my boy over here, then it's a little different. But literally, like I was like, I feel like butter is a weird term that nobody really knows except for volleyball people. So, but anyway, yeah. But anyway, so I think that transition right there, turning to like kind of growing up to hitting, because in Hawaii, defense is like a major thing. Jared knows,
Scrappy.
like especially because when you're not necessarily known for being taller, and a lot of Hawaii people aren't known for being taller. Even myself, I'm not on the taller end of the volleyball scale. Like I'm barely 6 feet, so it's like really that's not tall at all when it comes to volleyball. And even when I got to Hope finally, first thing that Victor says was like, "You're going to be a DS because naturally Hawaii people, we're not the six guys that basically don't have to jump that much as far as like volleyball is concerned." Like he was like literally all the Hawaii people, DS people or whatever. And as far as like my recruiting for getting into that, it was literally like a friend was there. I decided I didn't want to go the sports route initially out of high school. I kind of wanted to go the academic route because I was really focused on getting into architecture. That didn't pan out. I hated that school, even though, that year was basically a wash. Victor called me up and kind of was like, "Hey, we got a spot for you if you want to come." He tried out this thing where he wanted to do basically a huge roster of guys. The initial idea was that he could kind of use the other half of the team, which I was a part of, like as a club team that would kind of morph into like the eventual team come like our second and third years with the team.
Yeah, reserve team. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he literally had 32 people when I got there, which was not the number I was expecting to be there when I got there. Initially, it was definitely like, okay, we're going to have maybe like 20 people trying out for the team. It was a lot more than that. There were a lot of Hawaii people, so it kind of worked out in a way. But, we all kind of we used it as like a farming opportunity, like a way for us to like really hone in on our game, figure out where we fit in for hope, and then kind of work our way up into like playing with the main team. Obviously, there was like a lot of drama that I don't really feel like getting into. But, I mean, long story short, I mean, there was a lot of growth that happened during that time. And I think that as far as volleyball is concerned, I got a lot of knowledge from a lot of the guys who were there already, like Henry, who coaches with Jared, and Noah, who also was there at the time playing. Those two guys alone, I mean, some of the most just, I swear they make everything seem so easy. They can explain things in such a way that, like, if you're even a novice to the sport, it becomes just like, second nature. So it's one thing I think I took from them is that they're just passion for the game and their ability to kind of help others understand the game in a way that makes the game easy. And it's a sport that I still to this day feel like is so much more complicated and so much more detail oriented than people give it credit for, because there are so many people who like, they look at a team and sometimes they're like, these guys, like, for instance, for a lot of Hawaii players, like you got guys who are like, aren't like, even if you look at like a guy like Noah, and no offense to Noah, but like if you look at a guy like Noah who's a little shorter, little stockier in his build, he wasn't always that way, but like a little stockier in his build, you would think, that dude's not that athletic
He's
or
a little
whatever.
demon.
But yeah, little do you know that he's one of the greatest passers and setters and just players in like the history of volleyball. And it's mind blowing because you know that he knows how to read angles really well. He knows how to put his body in the right places at the right time. Yeah. There's so much more nuances to volleyball that people just don't get. And it's a reason why we all love the sport. It's a reason why we still kind of follow the sport. You guys all coach the sport. And I think for me, volleyball is just one of the most underrated sports like of all time. But yeah, I mean, in general, that's my.
I will say volleyball is the most technically advanced sport ever.
Yeah.
Don't say that to a baseball player.
I know.
They'll be like,
when you bat, you got to hit it 97 miles per hour.
You have to make split decisions on this volleyball court.
I get into this debate weekly with a guy who used to play baseball. And given I understand it's a very complicated sport, there's a lot of things to think about when you're playing baseball.
But it's so much slower to think about.
That's one thing. I was like, I think one. He's like, when you're hitting, you have to think about. You have like a split second. But I'm like, that's one instance though. Imagine trying to do that, but a million times while the ball is flying at you at like.
And you actually have to run and move around.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a different thinking process. But
here's half of baseball games right here.
Didn't hit it. Okay.
It's like this with your gloves.
Turn two. Let's turn two.
Right.
Let me
Here we go again. I'm ready.
Let me get some C's.
Strike.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
All
what
right.
they
Another
have.
10 minutes. Here we go.
See,
All right.
that's what they have in their mouth.
It's funny. Do you remember that time when we were kind of like telling the and I don't want to get into like who name wise, but you remember when we were kind of having that debate with the soccer players where it was like we could probably be better against you in soccer.
Oh my god, that was a great
against us in
combo.
volleyball.
I remember
because
that was great
Yes.
times. I remember that
Yeah.
conversation. That was a
Back
very
in the-
heated
And the
conversation.
Commons
Shane.
thing by the calf, yeah.
Yeah.
A boy Shane
10 out of
went
10.
at it with
With
soccer players.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Shane was
That
not
was-
having it.
And
It was
then-
one of those things
no,
I'm
wait,
like-
no, wait, wasn't that the year I was playing soccer?
Yeah, and that's
Yes.
the thing.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
we also have
We
the
literally
trump
are
card.
proving you wrong right now.
No,
I was
Jared
like, I
plays
was the one who was
both.
playing soccer. So.
Jared
Just
literally
saying.
walked onto the team, so I'm just saying. Like,
Not looking great for you.
I'm
right
just
now.
sorry. Okay. One last point I want to make about my career up until this point for volleyball. I know. I will say this: Jared is one of the most. I don't want to give him some fluff here, but I'm going to fluff him up a little bit right now.
Nice.
Jared is one of the most naturally gifted athletes that we know, right? I was not a naturally gifted athlete when it came to volleyball. Volleyball very much so was a sport that I had to work very, very hard to get really, really good at. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those sports that I had to be in the gym every single day, losing the weight, getting legs ready, all this kind of stuff. It was one of those sports that I had to work very, very hard, especially coming from a guy who went from being shorter to taller, learning how to configure my body in a way where I was able to play the sport that I ended up loving. It's one of those sports that you just don't walk into and pick up right away. You have to work very, very hard. So I worked very, very hard to get to where I was at in order to play at the collegiate level.
Yeah.
And that's not the same story for everybody. And I understand that. But that's definitely my thing. I give you kudos, Jared. Like I said, a lot of people always ask me, like, oh, was he? I'm like, you don't notice. You look at him. You don't think homeboy can play. But boy can play.
He's a secret
Like-
agent, but when
Like
he's out there, you're
basketball,
like,
too.
God,
I'm like,
Basketball,
like,
too.
You
Yep.
don't know.
I remember
One of
hooping.
like the
Sick
first
with
things I
it.
learned how to play. But
Yeah.
no, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I appreciate it. So
Yeah.
if you saw my premature celebration in between of this, Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander, I think they just won the gold, but they were down. They were down 14-7 in the second set,
I gotta
And then-
find that and watch it,
and
bro.
then they went on a 6-1 run off a Taylor serve, a Crabb serve. Sorry, Taylor.
Oh,
serve.
Claim to fame, block Taylor Crabb 1-on-1 on sand. Just saying. Okay. Anyway,
That's it. That's it.
And then
it was at
he
the
not end up
outrigger play. So
They won
outrigger.
21-19.
Side court.
So I don't know if it was the semifinal or the final, but bruh, I was watching this comeback. Sorry, I was like distracted, but I was like,
No, you're good.
I saw it.
While
and-
I'm giving you kudos, Jared, how dare you?
Dude,
That's
dude,
Well,
You
since we
gave me
have
kudos
hyped
right
the
at
man up so much, Jared, why don't we just knock out your origin story and get this show on the road here?
So-
Clear your clock for half an hour,
Listen.
boys.
Here we
Hey,
go.
you guys want to go get a drink?
Say, as noted, maybe post 1997. You know what I mean?
So
Was
I'll give
Michael
you the-
Jackson
I'll
black
give you
or
the-
white by the time you got here?
I don't even remember.
Oh my god!
Oh, definitely when he started, he was black. So I'll tell you that.
Wow.
So that was the final. Sorry, that was the final. Okay. Yeah. Basically, I found volleyball because of my sisters.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
played soccer first, then I played I played baseball first, then I played soccer. But I played basketball because we lived down the street. Long story short, my sister was a freshman in high school. We'd always be at the gym. They do Monday night open gyms, and she would stay, and that's how I learned how to touch a volleyball, basically, like just how to pass, how to set. I learned how to pancake because they told you put your hand flat on the ground, and if your hand looks anything, and I would have one of our family friends toss the ball up and bounce it as hard as he could off my hand. To find out how, no, seriously, like he's like, "You trust me, right?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I trust you." He goes, "Leave your hand right there," and it bounced. He's like, "Did it hurt?" I was like, "Nope." I was like, "Okay, cool." I learned how to pancake at like 7.
Nice.
Yeah, and so all that.
Sprained my
whatever.
finger once on a bent knuckle. That
Yeah, don't
Don't do it, guys.
Yeah,
Don't
tried to
sucks.
get, to get there.
keep it
That-
flat. Keep it flat as possible. They call it a pancake for a reason.
It's your
But,
last ditch effort.
So 97, I as my freshman year of high school, since you guys said post 97, like Keone, I was 4'11". I was actually playing more soccer at that time. I was thinking, and actually I was playing basketball a lot, so I only played volleyball because during that season, neither sport was. So back when I played, we had football and volleyball. You know, that was our season, and I was 4'11" and I was 80 pounds. I wanted to be a kicker because I knew how I could kick a ball, but I didn't want to get hit by a 300-pound lineman and die. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna play volleyball.
80 pounds.
No, yeah, I was
Low guy.
4'10". Keone, I was actually 4'10". I was 4'10", 80 pounds.
80
I was
wow.
my sophomore year. I was 5'1", 95 pounds. Like I was a twin.
I'm still like
no
4'11", 150, but jeez.
Yeah, no, I was seriously.
80 pounds, wow.
I'll try
Were
to
you
find a freshman year
One of
picture
those
for you.
kids that like had like a backpack that was normal size, but just looked like gigantic.
Yeah.
On you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was Jerry.
100%.
But the thing is, like,
he probably had a rolling backpack because
no, we didn't have that yet. We didn't have that.
Oh
yet.
yeah,
Sorry.
you're right.
Come on, man.
Right.
Not quite yet. Yeah.
They didn't have wheels back when you were gonna.
Oh wow.
For those who don't know, Jared invented the wheel.
Oh god, no, yeah. So I was super small. I was skinny. It's not that like I didn't eat because I love to eat. You know, I mean, like in Hawaii, that's what it is. I could down 2 plate lunches and like not gain any weight. It was stupid.
Yeah.
How big,
Must
how
be
good.
nice.
Shalimar. It was Shalimar in college. It was
Oh
Shalimar in
my
college.
God.
How Shal couldn't gain weight. Basically, what it was.
That's true.
So I started off. I came in kind of as a setter DS because I was small, right? Claim to fame, I was the only freshman. I didn't start on the court because back in the day you only had 6s. We had no libero, so I was always the first off the bench, which didn't sit well with our seniors. So I had a lot of drama my freshman year. My sophomore year, junior, senior year, I set a 5'1", 6'2", whatever it was, whatever we needed. I got to hit a little my senior year, but my other setter could not. He was a deep
What high
pusher.
school was it?
At Kaimaki, public school. You know, we weren't that good. We made playoffs every year, but we weren't that good. The one year that we should have.
See, going back to that thing I was saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes high schools really determine like where you were at in the pecking order, but
they
sometimes
ask
they
you
don't
like,
because
oh,
then you got Jared in there.
oi, ILH. Yeah, so you know.
Yeah, no.
And so it's like whatever, but yeah. So I played, and then after I got out of high school, I literally just played adult because I was gonna go to UH. There was like, oh, you should try walk on. I was like, I don't want to do school. I just want to, you know. And everybody's like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And I didn't want to leave the island. And you know, I was an island boy at heart. Never had any intention of leaving.
A big sticking point for a lot of Hawaii people.
Yeah,
yeah.
Big sticking point. Side note, so after that senior year, soccer, you're allowed to play until you're 19. So I went on a regional trip, and I actually got a scholarship offer to go to UCLA. But that same year, I was gonna have Cade. I was gonna have my son. So of course, being you weigh the 2 options, you stay for your son, right? So I turned that down. Thank God I turned it down. To be honest, I would have loved to go to UCLA and do all this other stuff, but fast forward 10 years after working and everything, I wanted to go back to school. It just so happens Henry was just graduating from Hope. I had reached out to him, reached out to Noah, because a lot of people asked me to go to Graceland. They wanted me to go to the Midwest.
Graceland. Oh,
Because that's where all the Hawaii boys went. Right?
Yeah, it's true. That's
all
true.
the Hawaii boys.
It's true.
Sam Kalingo.
Thank goodness you didn't go there.
Sam Kalingo
Yeah.
Sam Kalingo was at Graceland. I played a summer tournament with him and Bronson. Beyonce was there as well.
Beyonce.
Totally forgot about them.
They're like, oh, you want to, like, and Sam's like, I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm going back to college. I'm probably going to go to the University of Phoenix. But I mean, I was like, dude, you should go to the NAIA and play. I was like, what? He goes, how do you think I'm still playing? I was like, because he's older than me. And I've known him since I was a kid, like from basketball, playing at McCully Gym. And he's like, oh, NAIA is no age limitation. I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to go to the Midwest where I don't really know anybody. I was like,
California's the best option.
No, I was like, Noah's in California. Everybody's like, call Noah. So I called Noah. He thought I was joking. I called Vic. And then, long story short, July hit. Noah and them said, come through. I think applications need to be done by July 31st. I think I did it like 2 weeks before that. Got accepted like on the 30th or something. Put in my 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I got all my transcripts there. 2 weeks later, I quit my job. I resigned from my job, and then got on a plane, and I'm in California.
Years-wise,
the week of
You guys,
student orientation.
You were year of Nolan
Yeah.
or year
no,
after Nolan?
after. You guys are all
okay.
the same.
Yeah.
age.
I was
Already
Shao,
that we
Shane,
became
Toma
friends,
Chich,
and they started.
Tim Shankin, Jalen
Gotcha.
Holsten,
Yo.
Aaron
Tim
Potts.
Shankin.
Like, you name a lot of the people that
It's
had
like
come in that
Jalen
freshman.
Holsten.
We had a lot of freshmen. No, we had a lot of freshmen that year.
It was a
We
big
had
class.
We had some good freshmen.
Yeah, that
And
was
of course,
that was a
everybody
really
left
big
me.
class.
Everybody left me, and it was just me and Tim at the end. But Tim,
Well, that was Tim's fault why I left.
Tim Shankin didn't play after his freshman year. And that,
Yeah.
if that guy played 4 years,
He
but he would
would
have
have
been
been a
All-American in a
monster. He's an
heartbeat.
absolute beast.
Not that
There's-
Tim, the other Tim
Yeah.
that we ran into
Yeah,
later on.
Oh.
Because he forgot to add money that Victor was going to add my second
Yeah.
year. So I was
Yeah.
That guy.
in
So
debt.
Jay was like,
Yeah, I feel you, dog. 100% on that one. Wasn't going to get into that, but good lord.
Here we are.
We're getting
So
into
yeah.
it.
So
Oh,
that's
you
how-
got 10,000 saved up for the dorms? Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
totally.
Bro.
I worked
Yeah.
one job at HIU for their stupid recruiting thing where I was like,
I mean, I remember
"Hi,
at
this
one
is Kid and
point
Geek
I was
from
gonna like
Huddle."
try to crash at like Nolan's couch and then try to find like a job at Starbucks
Bro.
and an Uber everywhere just to
You're
try to
telling me.
like meet somewhere halfway. And then like the more we looked at, it, we're like, this is fucking.
I was
Like,
so.
I think
depressed
Nolan's
when-
here.
When we were, I think it was my senior year, we were going to have Jalen be our roommate, and he just couldn't. He couldn't do it financially.
We kept
So-
doing the numbers on it. And we're just like, this isn't good. Like,
I think Nolan's here. I was literally like sleeping in my car to try to like get a job so that I wouldn't have to pay for an apartment, but I could just pay for school.
Yeah, remember where you slept?
Yeah, I do remember where I slept. It was great. Yeah, I remember the exact parking lot where I had to sleep at every night. That was
Nolan's
fantastic.
freshman year?
No, my freshman year. Well,
Oh,
I
no,
didn't
no,
know.
sophomore year.
I didn't know Keone.
I was like,
Yeah,
I didn't
I did,
didn't know
right.
Keone, and when I finally met Keone and I found that
Yeah.
out, I was like, Keone, I have a single. Sleep in my room.
Yeah, not just that, but I didn't know that. That was when I met Shalimar too. Which
Yeah.
was like, yeah,
Shao had a
that's
single
what's-
too.
Oh,
that-
Shao. Of course, Shao
That
had
year,
single.
that year at Nolan.
That Shao was
Nolan's
broken,
year-
remember? So I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
like I had to
Nolan's
go
freshman
upstairs
year
and
was
help
a
him.
bad year. That was a really, really bad year. Anyway,
Shao-
speaking
sorry.
of the devil himself, Nolan, how did you come into love with volleyball, if you will?
Just walked in a gym one day, and they said, "Hey, go hit this ball really hard." I was like, "All right, I'll do it."
C-ball, hit ball. I love it.
C-ball,
I love it.
C-ball, hit
C-ball,
ball.
hit ball.
No. So going into my freshman year of high school, I had played basketball all my life, mainly playing like club. I guess you could say it's club.
The AAU stuff, right? Like the
wasn't
yeah.
necessarily AAU. It was like a
Asian
to be
ball?
honest, it was
Like.
Asian ball. Near,
Asian ball?
near my area.
Yeah.
So I played that since 6, and when I was getting to high school, you know, obviously, this is actually playing for a team I have to try out for and be good in order to
Yeah.
get any minutes or get a good position, get on JV instead of Frosh team. And so I decided, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do volleyball. Like, jump higher. I'll learn a little more coordination. And I dragged my friend with me. Shout out Russell. I don't know if you even listen to this, but shout out Russell. And he was 6'2", and I was 6 foot freshman year. I only grew like another inch and a half over the course of my high school career.
you only 6 foot freshman
Yeah.
Were you
I never
only
So sorry.
Must be nice.
Anyway,
Still not 6 feet, bitch ass.
well, maybe
Let
that's-
them know, short
Go,
kings.
go
Let
do
them
the
know.
extension thing.
We
I don't know.
stand united.
Yes, we're not 6 feet, but I can still play professional volleyball.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt.
right.
I'm not here to argue talent. All right, let's relax here. Let's relax. But yeah, so knocked on the doors. This is the summer training prior to the start of the school year. Coach walks out. He's this kind of big, husky, white guy, but he's also like part Vietnamese, so it's like a weird mix. And he just comes out, looks up at both of us. He's about maybe like 5'10", looks up, he's like, holy shit, you guys freshmen? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, come in. We're going to teach you volleyball right now. And that's pretty much how I learned volleyball. And my school, shout out Gabrielino High School, was not a great volleyball-oriented learning thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. My area is very academic, as you can tell by me. Not going to say anything further than that. Let your mind wander for that.
Oh, it's because you're Asian.
Asians are smart.
Bingo. Yeah, so I started playing. Obviously, went through my high school basketball season first, and then volleyball's spring for us. I don't know if is it spring for you guys in Hawaii?
Nope.
Yeah, so I was going to say that was one thing that was a little weird was that our seasons were different.
You guys did fall, right, or something like that?
Yeah, and for volleyball and football, they were like the same season for a long time, which is why
Girls
technically
too.
in high
All in the fall.
I had to choose which sport I wanted to play because they were the exact same season.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, then get to spring season freshman year. I'm playing middle because I wasn't taught how to pass very well, and I think that was very apparent when I was at Hope. It's sometimes okay, but we go to our first tournament, and it's the very first time we're stepping on a court as any high school athlete volleyball player, and we're all shitting bricks. Like it's me and like 10 other freshmen, and for some reason the guy that was playing outside missed the bus to the tournament. So
Sick.
they're like, Nolan, I'm gonna have you play outside today. I'm like, all right, cool. And of course we play Servite. It's JV tournament, but we play Servite. And I was like,
really good.
they're like doing all these jump serves. I'm like, bro, I don't even know how to fucking do any of this. What are you doing?
Pause, bro.
It was a
I'm
nightmare.
feeling anxious for you.
It was a nightmare.
Oh, bro.
So anyway, we get completely pummeled in that tournament. Like there was no reason why we should have been there other than to be a punching bag for other teams. I don't know.
Pretty much.
So-
yeah, that's what-
Eventually, my JV coach decided, all right, I'm just going to leave you at outside because you were there and you did decently well. And I was all right, cool. Go through our whole non-conference games. By the end of it, I was doing very well at outside. And my varsity coach, who was the guy who saw me during the summer, said, Nolan, I'm going to pull you up to varsity for league. I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but all right, I'll do it. So
And
move
league
up-
for you guys is like conference
Conference,
districts
conference.
time going into the state,
league
right?
conference.
Like league. Yeah.
I
Okay.
use it interchangeably, but yeah.
Yeah.
Conference league. It's mainly called league here, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I pretty much rode the bench most of the freshman year, rest of that season. Got a couple opportunities because I think a couple players had like driving tests or something. Got to play a little bit, and then move
Hey,
on.
you take those opportunities, man.
And I remember distinctly. So there's this guy that actually beat Shalimar for the state championship for junior college. He was a guy that I mainly looked up to when I first started playing volleyball at my high school because he was junior my freshman year, but he was a beast. He played at SCVC a little bit, and then for Manhattan Beach, he played with one of the McKibbins. I forgot which one. But he goes up and like pounds the ball straight down the line into the right back's face, who didn't back up at all to play defense, and just stood there, got smacked in the face.
That's
Falls
usually
to
right
the
back
ground.
defenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Poor right back defenders.
And there was
Especially when they just serve the ball. It's like
They
the
run
first
to their
thing
base.
is like a
Base immediately goes out. You're just getting stopped, and you're like, "Well, I could drop, but what if he tips it?" So then you stay there, and you're like, "Oh, he's not tipping, is he?"
yeah.
And it's over.
Especially when
Right
you
in
see
his
the block like off to the left a little
Right,
bit.
Just
You're
a
like, oh,
huge.
We think he may have broken his nose. We don't know for sure, but it was red. Blood was coming out everywhere, and he was out for the rest of the game. But I remember that was my first experience sitting on like the varsity bench, just watching these guys. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to get to this level?
Can I just say that is an experience? That is something that I feel like a lot of people don't understand about how hard the ball comes at you. Because, like, for instance, when I'm playing with like this now the Shipyard League team, right? We had one guy from another team that gave no F's that this was just a recreational shipyard for fun kind of league, and clearly played in high school. Hit the ball on one of the dudes, and it was like one of those.
Yeah, caught you right in the socket.
Like I feel like for myself, I'm like when you hear that, I'm thinking like, okay, solid hit, whatever. But like that dude didn't want to play the rest of the game because that was like his first experience getting hit with like a real like hit in his arm, and I was just like, boy, would you not have lasted at
Was
all?
it a dig?
No.
No, it was definitely a shank, but still, it was one of those. I was like, that was your first experience. You don't even know, like, This isn't even like real, like competitive volleyball. Like imagine
that's
that
what
dude at the
kept
net, nonetheless.
So that's what kept our buddy Tim out for so long, because he like people don't understand, like we're hitting the ball on average at 75 miles an hour at each other, you know,
And
when
he
it comes
was
to the higher level of
unfortunately-
men's league, you know.
He was
On the-
unfortunately the best person to get hit in the head when blocking.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Multiple
It was-
times.
yeah.
I don't know
But-
why it was
In multiple
always
times.
Story of middles, man.
Dude, he used to get
Literally
so
always
mad. He
him.
got so mad because he's like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, just walked off the court one time. I was like, "Tim, are you okay, bud?" I was like,
I remember Shane got pissed off. Like I forgot, someone like served it straight into the net, but it was like aggressive float serve. It was like right by Tim's head. He's like, "He just got back from a concussion. What the fuck are you guys doing?"
and then he continued to punt that ball all the way across the gym.
It sucks, but you know,
In typical
you know when
Shane
you're-
fashion.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know when you're hitting against the middle, that's like your goal. Like you're trying to get it off that dude's head. Like I mean, like
Yeah.
it's like you're going up against the main blocker. Like you naturally want to just, even if it's face, you know what I
Just a
mean?
little
Like
bit.
as messed up as it is, that's where you're like, oh, come on, if I could just time this right.
It's true.
Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Love Tim as a human. You know, my boy.
I love that dude, man.
Yeah,
Baller.
he's
Great
one of the
roommate.
best dudes. Yeah.
But yeah, then moving on, sophomore year, pretty much the same starting group from the varsity return. I was able to start as a middle, which I was not very happy about, but you know, take
Hey,
what you can get.
that's-
Right?
I
If
feel
I
like
was
that's
6
where
feet, I'd play middle.
it's like
too.
I was like I was the same foot. I was the same thing. Went
Apparently
straight
I
to
did
middle
well enough
from
to get second
libero.
team all
from libero to middle.
league. So that was
There you go. Yeah.
and
That'll work.
that was the
Wow.
and the big outside that we had, as well as we had twin setters. So no one understood like who was like back row and front row.
Yeah, low-key, that's pretty.
That's
I
a
was like, that's
big
another
brain strap
mind-
from your
Yeah.
coach there.
Yeah.
Hey.
And they could leap out of the building, and I think they were like 5'9", but they were just athletic as hell.
Was
And
one
then-
better than the other?
Yes,
Oh.
at setting. I think one
Yeah.
was better at hitting, kind of. So they played all the way around 6'2" oppo hitter,
Yeah.
setter. And then we had this big Filipino middle, 6'4", athletic, super quick, understood the game, but he never played club. And I was like, dude, like looking back at it, like if this dude played club, he for sure would be getting offers anywhere he wanted to go. Because I mean, probably not as a middle at 6'4", but I think just given his raw talent and what he was able to pick up with the coaching at my high school, that is saying something, right?
No.
But yeah, that ended up being the only year our volleyball team won league in its history, which is
Hey,
yeah, we did
pretty
something
good,
good there.
man.
hey,
You
that's
hang
I
on
was
to
just
that,
saying,
bro.
hey, that's an achievement, no matter what.
Yeah.
Moving forward, maybe 2 years, I moved to outside junior year, senior year. I realized at that point that though I love basketball, it's always going to be my first sport that I love. It wasn't going to take me anywhere for sure. Like, you know, I was okay for my area, but moving out of there, obviously I'm not going to make any team, like collegiate team or anything like that. So
Yeah.
volleyball, we looked into it. I played club starting second half of the freshman season. So 3.5 seasons in, got a lot more coaching in from more experienced coaches, people around. Mike Talamontes from Park was my senior year club coach. So he definitely kind of grilled me into being a little bit more aggressive in the back row as a defender, or passer, whatever you want it. But I ended up looking around to different colleges, and to me, I didn't really want to leave the state, and just worked out that we saw something regarding Hope International. They had a volleyball team, and we reached out. I believe Mama Tree was the one who was in contact with me.
Oh, not bad.
okay.
I forgot that she was kind of doing recruiting a little bit there
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Mhm.
So went to watch a
Shout
game.
out to Mama Tree.
Let's say, yeah, what didn't she do? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
She
for
was,
real.
she was the absolute mom.
Everything, man.
Literally a
Yeah.
team mom, like to the fullest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her real name is Lisa Rosales. Shout out.
Shout out.
But senior year basketball season, I went up for a block, and
I was just laughing because I was like, Mama Tree doesn't make sense when you say her name. Because, like,
Katrina
Mama Tree.
was
Yeah,
her
Katrina,
daughter.
her daughter,
who went to
yeah.
Right.
school.
Yes, that's how the.
Just so
also
everyone-
my former employer when I finally got into coaching. Just saying.
There you go.
La Mirada.
Shout out to
Forgot
Tree.
about
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is right.
But yeah,
I
during a
remember
fast
those
break,
days.
I went to go up to block, and I got the block, but my arm got the backboard, but my body kept going forward. I didn't realize it till after the game when I was at home doing homework, and I tried to pick up a book, and I couldn't lift my arm. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I don't know what's going on. So literally for a good week, I couldn't lift my arm higher than maybe my belly button level. Like my hand would not go up that high.
Can I just say, I'm like legitimately, I'm thinking about like the where everybody was, their story specifically. And I feel like everybody has such a very unique version of like their volleyball story where like yours is like martyred by a lot of injuries. I mean, let's be honest here.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of
We're
injuries.
just touching the
Yeah,
We're just getting started.
You were the injury prone guy, which is, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that could have happened differently. You obviously, like, for those who don't know, you lost a lot of weight too, which helped
we'll
later
get to that.
on.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
But then, like, Jared's is like, he was like the superstar that had some stuff happening in his family life that he kind of had to like deal with first, and then he kind of eventually came back to it. Mine's is more like the gritty story, and I also came from for those who don't know, Kamehameha is one of those programs that's known very highly in Hawaii as being like a top volleyball program. So it's one of those, like, it's a very competitive, like, trying to work hard.
Don't you have a state championship?
Yes, no, I don't. No, we do not.
Oh, is it year after you?
We unfortunately,
Micah's.
for those who don't know,
Right?
we had the 4 years of the golden Punahou era, which was
I thought you were the last year.
No, we were.
When
We
you
had
guys finally won.
We had all the guys who ended up not only winning every single club championship known to man during that time, but also most of them ended up playing USA volleyball along with Micah Christensen. So, you know, they were literally the golden years. I also had Manti Te'o all 4 years for football. So
Great.
just
That's awesome.
just a fantastic, literally like the Punahou golden years. I think they literally also beat us in hula, which is like, I mean, we're the Hawaiian school.
What are you doing with your life,
and
bro?
we lost in hula. So
Is that a competitive
just saying.
sport in Hawaii?
it is. They have
Competition?
They have a competition for it. So we
Kind of like
literally
a dance
lost
team.
in like
Yeah.
we lost in everything. But anyway, sorry.
Did they beat you in the song competition too? Then
First of all, Rockland, shout out the Red Squad. I'm just saying, song
Did they
competition.
stomp the yard?
Hey,
no.
for those who are unaware, Lilo and Stitch song, I don't know the title, Keone was a part of that.
Hawaiian roller coaster
Oh
ride.
yeah,
come on,
he
he was in it.
was.
Come on, dog.
His high school was the.
It was
Yeah.
Like
That's the only reason people know the high
Kamehameha
school.
choir, right?
And also the girl who plays Moana went to Kamehameha as well. So
Oh, yes.
big deal, guys. Just kind of brushing that off right there.
Also,
I mean, but then
roommate,
President.
Matthew
But then their
Harakuji.
claim to fame is that President Obama went to Punahou.
Punahou.
So they win.
So they just trumped
Oh.
everything that you just
We
brought up.
got Moana and then the President of the United
First
States of America.
African American president.
So they
States.
just shat. So any dreams you had with the Moana thing
They said,
went
we
out
got
the
you
window.
here, and now
Oh,
we're going
man.
to trump you and tell you why we're still the best score in
This
in
is the
Hawaii.
story of my life, unfortunately. Anyway. But yeah, it's funny. I just thought it was interesting to see the parallels between everybody's
Yeah.
stories. I'm so curious to hear Jalen's story because we haven't gotten to it yet. But
We'll let Nolan finish his up and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
straight
exactly.
into mine.
Oh yeah, I forgot about all that. Yeah,
We'll get to
ended
that
up getting
later.
a.
We can do the injury pod later.
The
that was-
injury fund later.
Nolan will have the
some kind
largest segment there.
First aid.
Good. Yeah, no, but I mean, I'm so sorry for you, bro. It feels like you lost so
Yeah.
many of your like athletic years because of that
I
stuff.
did, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that. So I remember I went to do an MRI and then found out I had a torn labrum, which is pretty much like just the cartilage around the cuff of your shoulder socket.
Yeah.
Didn't need surgery, but I did need to do physical therapy, and I was pretty depressed because I remember the next day after we got the results was me going to visit
Sorry,
Hope
I don't know why that
during
played.
one of the games, see them play and meet with Coach Vic.
Yeah.
And I pretty much straight up told him, I was like, hey, I'm coming in. Hopefully my shoulder's good. I don't know where it'll be by the end of this high school season. So just letting you know, doing physical therapy, but I am intending to come to Hope if... No, we got to save this one for the next one.
Oh, we haven't got to the sad one. I thought this was the sad one.
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
Oh, that's right. You was while you were.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Timeline's there. Yeah. Okay, now I'm
So
remembering.
torn shoulder and all, but still was able to. Vic was, I guess, very willing to work with me still, which is, I was very blessed to have that happen.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Vic,
Shout out to him for that. Yeah,
thank you,
for
Vic.
giving the opportunity for a lot of us.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we didn't end on a good note. Kind of.
Yeah.
Not us, but
That was your
Yeah.
freshman year.
We
right?
know.
He was
I remember.
he was there
his last full, and then
last
sophomore year was when he. Yeah. Gotcha.
So the year they came in.
The year we came in, because
Yeah,
we got
they recruited
by him.
or by Vic, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah. So end up being able to finish my senior year. I was able. I think the injury happened at the beginning of January. I was able to start hitting, not as hard, but hitting around. I want to say middle of March-ish, or end of March, which was exciting for me because I ended up playing libero for the first part of the season because my other libero was not as good at anything. So shout out to you. You know who you are if you're
For hooking
listening.
me up.
Yeah, thanks, man. But yeah, everything ended up fine. I was able to start hitting again full by the second half of club. Huh? Keone, you good?
Oh, I was just thinking in my. I didn't say anything. I was saying, who's the other libero?
No, for my
Don't
high
get him
school,
off the
for high
rails
school.
again. We have some good momentum.
High school.
No. Yeah, I was just trying to throw you off. I was trying to think. I'm
Wait till
sorry.
senior year, and then I'm the
I thought you were
libero.
talking about Hope. I got you.
But yeah, so get to Hope, pretty much part of the team, our active player on the team freshman year. Got some opportunities to hop on the court and play. Most of them were against like Johnson and Wales and some other teams.
Good old J-Woo.
I think Santa Cruz maybe a little bit. But anyways,
Yeah.
got the opportunity. Definitely took advantage whenever I was on the court. I remember Henry actually gave me my first kill, and it was like a beautiful, like out of system set, but he went and just back set all the way to the outside, and I was able to get a nice hard angle kill on it. But I was like, Henry, I like your setting. You should stick around a little more. But
God, I can't wait to get him on the pod. I have a really hot question that I want to ask him. And we'll wait till we get him on the pod. That pod's coming for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Yeah.
we're definitely gonna have more guests. So be aware, especially if you know the volleyball world. Maybe we'll get someone you know.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Even if you don't, these are names you'll need to know.
yeah.
100%.
So sophomore year, I sprained my ankle during off-season training, and I remember distinctly how it happened because I was riding a skateboard, and I think multiple people had sprained or hurt themselves
Our
while
whole
skating.
team,
Yeah,
our whole
And
team got hurt off a skateboard.
I totally
we banned
just-
the skateboard riding because of it.
I totally
Yeah.
lied to Vic and said that I stepped in a pothole in a dark parking lot when I was leaving work because I was working at like the LA Fair for a bit, and that was obviously a lie. I'm sorry, Vic, if you're listening.
If you're listening.
But yeah, it was a pretty bad ankle sprain.
I got hit by a car and didn't get injured. Nolan. How do you get injured on a skateboard? Come on.
It slipped out from under me, and my foot just landed incorrectly, and
Of this
Where-
group,
where
you're
did you
Mr.
do it at,
You're Mr.
Nolan?
Street Clothes. I'm just
it was in
joking.
the Target parking lot. It was great.
I thought it was a Cal State parking lot where everybody else was.
No, I wasn't gonna like whip around the parking garage like they do. But yeah, sprained my ankle, and then all the whole debacle with Coach Vic, and then we didn't know what was going on. They brought in a new coach like almost instantly. Okay, cool. And so
Almost instantly. It was like a month and a half.
was it?
So
I
we
thought
got to It was right before
It
Thanksgiving.
was long.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah.
It was like
we
a
were,
month and a half because I think Vic got let go in September.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we were barely a month into off season. We had only done like 2 weeks of Poyer in the aerobics room and sand.
Of figuring out who's gonna run everything.
Called you Tom Cruise.
Like chilling.
Yeah.
I will say this. I mean, not saying that you guys didn't, because obviously I've never had the experience or the pleasure to be coached by Tim, but them two guys, Victor and Poyer, got you in shape.
Oh yes.
Like,
God, yeah.
like stupid.
Yes.
No, and you remember our first
Learned the hard way.
practice where we
Like
had to
not
run
even for volleyball shape.
for a party that wasn't even our party.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember.
And then Jeff Wolf's phone goes off when we're done.
Woo! Jeff Wolf, shout out to the boy.
I haven't seen him in forever. Missed
And
that.
we're
know, I
like,
was
whose
supposed to
phone
say.
is that? And of all the people, it's like an old school ringtone, you know. And
Because he had like a flip phone.
He had a
didn't
flip phone.
Yeah. I was just saying, he was like not with technology.
And it's like,
at
oh,
all.
get back on the line. And we're
Which
like,
is probably
oh,
why
you
probably wouldn't even find him on social media.
I will
right?
say, my freshman year was the first time ever I had thrown up from running so goddamn much under Victor and Poyer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
same.
I remember
Same.
we were
I had
doing
the
Indian
same
runs
exact
around that
experience.
gym, and we turned a corner, and I just see an exit, and then I just kept going, and everyone kept turning around the corner, like, "No, where are you going?" I'm like, "I got nope."
I remember
Nope.
my freshman year. He literally said, "You guys will run until somebody throws up," and at one point, everybody was getting desperate enough where somebody was like, "Okay, let's just all stick our fingers down our throats and throw up," because we were running for like damn near like 3 hours, and it was like way after practice had already finished.
I don't even remember why he was
Thankfully,
angry.
somebody buckled and ended up actually throwing up, so that worked out. Shout out to the boy. I'm not going to say his name. Shout out to the boy,
Me.
DJ. Anyway,
Myself.
I'm just joking.
But I do remember specifically going outside and instantly just projectile everything. And what you know how the Koreans used to do jump rope?
Oh my god!
She
about
started
the
running away. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was just like a weird. Like, she
I
was a jump rope
completely forgot about that program.
Enjoying their day like
just doing their little exercise.
Here comes
I
Jalen.
know that. I was like, I know that sounded weird, but we'd had like a program with Korean,
Korean
with a
college.
sister campus, wasn't it? In Korea? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you'd have a week of like all the normal, air quote normal. It was a fucking Bible school, so you know what I mean. But so we'd have all the more U.S. based students coming in, and for like a week, and then the Koreans would arrive, and that's when the campus population would just explode a little bit. So
From like 500 to 600, right?
yeah, but it's all small, so it feels like you're.
Explode, yeah, I was like,
It felt
explode.
it felt cool at first, and then they came, and it's like a small school already. So then you're just like, okay, it's really packed in tight here, aren't we? Okay.
Figuring out
1,500 kids
the best
don't
Not
time
to
to do
rush
it.
you, but bro, we are at an hour, so
Oh, this is gonna be a
We
long one.
We haven't
Yeah.
even gotten to Jay's story yet.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we kept going. And then junior year, or redshirted sophomore year, junior year, opportunity to be maybe like the first pin off the bench, doing sprints during practice.
Good Lord.
And of course, there was a sweat streak because Tim and Mike D'Alessandro loved having us dive every freaking practice, which is fine. I get it. But there was just so much sweat everywhere. And I tried to plant at the half court, and that foot slid out. So my left foot tried to stabilize, but that foot slid out, and then it was a eversion twist dislocation. Then I broke my fibula all in one go. It was great.
Yeah.
Laying on the floor screaming. Shane's like coming over, like, what do you need me to do? I was like, don't fucking touch me, Shane. He's like, okay. And
I remember him running back with the water, and then Tim's like,
Don't give him
any
water." if he got to go into surgery, he's going to throw up or go choke on his own throw up or something.
No,
Shane's just like,
the best was Nolan's question. Do you have to cut my shoe?
Oh, yeah.
This
Because
is
we
Kobe's
just
too,
got
yeah.
the Kobe's.
His
Yeah.
Kobe's. I was like, do you have to cut my shoe? And so they just,
Hell no.
they just unlaced the
They
whole
did.
thing.
The shoe.
No, they didn't cut the
Socks.
shoes. They
And
just
this
cut
fool
the
over
Nike
here
Elite
is like,
socks.
I was like, you better find a way to get this shoe off.
I pay way too
Hell,
much money for
Ask me
this.
that.
But yeah, that was
Why are
fun.
you playing in Kobe's? I was like, wow. I mean,
We all
that's-
bought Kobe's that year.
I was like, hindsight is 2020 because Kobe's.
Actually, I bought KD's that year.
I was like, we all
I do
bought
remember, you had
Kobe's.
the
'cause
KD5s
you and
and
custom
Kuji got- You and
KDs.
Kuji bought the Kobe's. I think Shao got Kobe's. And then I was like, oh.
No, Shao got freaking like normal.
No, Air Max. No, what did
No,
he
he
get?
got like normal like running shoes and just
Yeah.
played in them.
No.
That's Shell. He can jump out the building with whatever he's wearing on his feet.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, another one I want to get his story too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Long story short, came back from the injury, but I took my opportunities for granted, gained a lot of weight, came back senior year, gained more weight, and was not looking to be on the court at all for that last year. Thankfully, something happened where we were able to sweep out some cancerous people from the program. And
their two idiot coaches let them stranded in Iowa in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
We don't have to be nice about it. That was the dumbest decision I'd ever heard in my life.
Yeah. And thankfully, Noah and Henry came in to coach for the rest of my senior year, at least. And, first game back, we played against UC Merced. They gave me an opportunity to go on the court, got a kill, hyped. And then after that, they had like our normal meetings just to see what we were going to do for the rest of the season. And they said, Nolan, I'm going to have you play DS or libero. Probably defensively, you're more – I'm not going to say it, but they said you're more adept to digging –
Not jumping?
No, to digging instead of another person who also wore a libero jersey.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we went to nationals that year, and it was fun. I do regret how I'm not trying to get
a name out of you. I'm just really trying to figure out.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can't remember who was even playing libero for you guys.
Well, he also went to Kamehameha, so.
Oh, okay.
Indeed.
Yeah. Anyways,
he doesn't listen to this pod. Does he?
No, he's busy doing photo shoots and everything. He's good.
I mean, that was a pretty. I mean, you might as well say his name.
On the nose.
I mean, there's only one guy. Only one guy who went to the school during that time.
Damn it, Kahale.
Yeah. Gosh darn it. Anyways, yeah, but that's kind of where I'm at now. I finished college and then decided to continue coaching. I coached starting in college and then just something I like doing.
Yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Just again, like Tony noted, just always an interesting weave and turn from everybody's, perspectives or whatever.
You guys are a lot more detail oriented than I was. I guess I'm not bad. I wasn't thinking
it's all good.
That good. Yeah, my bad.
I didn't even go too in depth because you guys told me to keep mine under half an hour.
Yeah, I was straight like Hawaii volleyball. I wasn't even thinking like my specific. That's my bad. But let's get to the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Holsten.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, if for those that aren't in the know, it was I don't know my biological dad, so it was just me and my mom for the first 5 years of my life. So her and I are very, very close for obvious reasons. So growing up, when it came to time to do sports stuff, I wanted to do everything she did because she was the only person that I looked up to at the time, athletically and all that kind of stuff. And growing up down in Dixon, small town, they kind of glorify all the people that played sports down there. And I've seen my uncle's names are on banners in there. All my cousins' names are on banners in there for basketball. So that was what I wanted to do. I was not a gifted basketball player by any means. I had to do 4 times the work to be okay at basketball compared to the rest of my family. So that was my whole life. And then I kind of discovered football later in middle school-ish kind of time. So I did that, all through middle school. I played for my high school's feeder team over at Howell and all that good stuff. But my mom had one condition. She's like, you're going to go down to your aunt's volleyball camp in Oklahoma with your cousins who are girls. Wow. Peggy McCall down there is what is her name. Just good old Aunt Peg. But she's a Oklahoma volleyball high school coach, legend, started boys down there in the late 80s, and my cousin Chip McCall was on the USA roster for the Athens Olympics. So so she's like, you're going to go down there and you're going to go do her camp with her girls, and you're going to go with my cousins, who was I was always close with my girl cousins, Grace and Samantha, so it wasn't a big deal. And I'm my grandma was going, so it's going to be a good time. So I, again, like most of us at that age, were just this is just a girl thing. I could kind of do a little bit of stuff. But then I realized And it's a story I tell most boys when I'm trying to convince them to play volleyball, and they reply with, "Oh, it's kind of a gay sport." And I was like, gentlemen, at a very impressionable age of 14 years old, I learned to play volleyball at a camp in Oklahoma that was run by my aunt, which this information was not disclosed to me at the time, but it was at a all-girls Catholic high school. And because I was the only male in the gym, I wasn't playing with the freshman or JV kids in my age. I was with the varsity people participating in the gym, okay?
Yeah.
So I have some very distinctive memories of that whole experience, trying to hear what Coach Wads is trying to teach me about how to actually just play volleyball. But at the same time, I'm just not paying attention to anything going on. In the slightest.
Young boys in Spanx, bro.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just let's just be real with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it was when we were young.
When you haven't seen it at that level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, it's just, it's the cream of the crop. It's a private school. You know what I mean? So that's just how that went. So I did that. But like, that was the plan. I was going to try out for, basketball, going to do football, and then I'll try volleyball in the spring. And to that point, like, I was all basketball all the time. That was the main one that I was like most into or whatever. So I do basketball tryouts. Whole week goes by. I do like all the mile tests and all that. And then how my high school did it was they hand you a letter, and then you read the letter at home, and then whoever made the team would come the next day to practice. Very passive and not confrontational stuff. So I get my letter. My mom picked me up that day. Open it up. I'm sitting in the car. And then I just immediately, I got to like the third line, and I was just skimming it, and I was looking for like the confirmation that I made it or didn't make it. And I immediately didn't make the team. So like, I am literally in the parking lot with my mom, and it's after school. So like, there's nothing really, no one's really there. And I'm sitting there. I can, like, the letter is just almost damp and soaking because I just bawled my eyes out so hard into this letter. And so I looked at her, and I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? Like, this was the only plan I had for the fall. And my mother's a very blunt person. I think everyone but Keone's met her. So but when she needed to be mom, she was mom. So like, she grabbed the letter. She had just crumpled it, tossed out the window. No offense or buts about it. Yeah, she was just like, here, let me see that. Rolled the window down, chucked out the window, and she turned back to me, and she's like, you're going to go play football, and then you're going to go try out for volleyball in the spring, and then we're going to come back, and if you're really this upset, you're going to try out again next year. I was like, okay. So then I go into freshman year tryouts, and the only reason that I am a setter, by the way, I did have some natural hands. This is true. This came from the family tree and whatnot, but the only reason I ended up being a setter was because my Aunt Peg said that if I didn't, she was going to fly to Missouri myself and beat me with a belt in a very disciplinary fashion. And so Aunt Peg has her ways of getting information. So I didn't want to test the waters. So I didn't want to test the waters. So when Coach was like, who would like to try to be a setter? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
I don't want to.
I'll do it. Like libero kind of looked cool to me, but I was like, okay, I'll do it. Whatever.
You get a different jersey,
Playing libero was boring.
It really.
Let's be honest about it. Let's keep it a buck here.
Hey, bro.
Let's be real.
That ain't
Coming
it.
from the libero. Coming from the libero. Fucking
Yeah.
playing libero is boring, man.
Coming from Mr. 411 over here. I agree. Yeah, hell no.
But and that's how it kind of started in high school and all that stuff. So I played freshman through junior year. I was just doing, I didn't end up ever making the basketball team at Huddle. So that was just kind of the Knicks in the back of my mind. But that was like Michael Jordan. Like I used that as I never wanted to feel that type of pain ever again in my life. I didn't care if it was football, basketball, school, like anything I did. I never wanted to get that hurt ever again. And so I continued to play. And I started playing club for St. Louis High Performance. But because I always played football, the tryouts for the travel teams were always on a Saturday. And so our freshman and JV games sometimes would land on the Saturday that they were having the travel team. So I always played regional. Push came to shove, senior year hits, right? I had sat behind who would later become the NAIA Setter of the Year in Nick Lynch, played for St. Ambrose. That's the guy that I sat behind my junior year to kind of get ready for my senior year. And so my senior year, I decided, like, I'm not getting any looks from football. I've never, obviously I've never been to like the high school basketball teams. So like I'm going to go all in on volleyball. So I quit football in the fall, and I have a little bit of downtime. So I start working at a bowling alley. I go to the travel tryouts and I get cut initially. And so again, I'm just like, damn, like I spent all off season that year because I didn't do football. I went and got a private trainer and stuff. I worked out extra. I was able to get some gym time, and really get ready for my senior year of volleyball for high school. And then I don't make the travel team the 1 year I can actually try out for it. And so I'm just like devastated again. But on my way home from a shift at the bowling alley, it's like 10:30, 11, how late club directors stay up. I get a phone call from one of the guys at St. Louis High Performance, Brian Pichelle, actually, in case somehow he ever winds up listening to this podcast.
Shut up,
and
Brian.
He's like, hey, you ready to be on, 17 Royal? And I was like, huh? Like it didn't really process because I just worked and like we had a birthday party and there was like a whole bunch of chaos and shit. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So then through that, obviously, when you travel, you get exposure and all that stuff.
Wait, were you a young senior?
Or I guess 18 Royal, whatever it was. 18 Royal.
17.
So it was the second team. It wasn't 18 Navy or one of the two travel teams that we had. But yeah, I made one of the 18's travel teams. So by then I could now get tape out to coaches because I'm on like a legit travel club team and all that good stuff, right? So I get into recruiting, and Valley is the one place that I visited and I liked a lot, and they've been recruiting me since my sophomore year of volleyball. So I was already kind of like figuring I was going to go there, and then I found Hope International on NCSA, the little recruiting website. And so I emailed Victor, and like months go by. Like I didn't get a reply at all, and it was kind of getting later into my senior year, and I was literally typing my commitment email to Valley because they had already offered me and all this other stuff. So all I had to do was say yes and then do the whole application process. As I'm typing, bing, a little email notification pops up. Hey, I'm so sorry I hadn't got back to you. Like we just got stuck in, they were traveling, I think up north somewhere. In California,
by
got
van,
stuck. By van, so like I hadn't really gotten time to get back to all my recruiting emails, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you come out for a visit? And so I showed that to my mom, and she was obviously on board because like my mom in beaches is always like a go. So she's like, oh yeah, okay, next weekend, let's go, let's do it. No hesitation. And then obviously as soon as I stepped off the plane, I'm a kid from Missouri who's never been to California. So that was kind of
mom's not from Hawaii. She sounds like she's from Hawaii.
No.
Straight to the point and loves beaches.
Yes.
It sounds like your mom's a Hawaii born.
Maybe she is. I don't know. We might have something to check the 23andMe or whatever and just really see where everything lined out. But so yeah, I ended up actually signing the day we did the recruiting trip, and we got like a photo thing in the gym with Victor, and that's how I got to Hope and all that. And obviously it meant all of you lovely gentlemen my freshman year coming in with Jared, and
I
then I met
distinctly remember
Nolan
you and Fonzie.
Oh yeah,
just
yes.
It sucks because I really don't remember how I met Jay. Like
I don't remember exactly how.
Wait, how do you remember us meeting? Like specifically starting to like
you and I
like chat, talk.
Yeah.
I remember us meeting kind of in the same way that I met Shalimar through Jared, because Jared was, I remember I was looking for possibly a situation where I could move into somewhere. He was like, oh, Shalimar's looking for a place. Me and Shalimar kind of hooked up, found out we can like move into a place. But then I also remember that you were, if I'm not mistaken, you were Kuji's room. No.
I was
Spencer's roommate. You were Spencer's roommate, and I also knew Spencer through Kuji. So I kind of remember it just being kind of like a casual, like, oh, like between class, we're going to go play some 2K at their room.
Yeah, let's go do
and then
this.
it was like, oh, let's go play some 2K. Like, that's how I
Let's
remember.
go to
kind of
downtown
meeting
Fullerton and eat a giant Polish sausage.
See, that was way later. But yeah, I was like, and then eventually we ended up doing the whole like, oh, we also need a third roommate and a fourth roommate. And then that kind of changed all that. But like legitimately, I can't remember. Like it might have just been like one of those 2K days where we met Jay.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's that's the most immediate rationale. Like, I just had to have been coming over to hang out with Jared and Nolan at the house.
Yeah.
And that's when you were there. and that's how I kind of got
I
used
do
to
remember
hanging
coming
out
for
with
an
you guys.
open gym where Jay was setting, and then Jay kind of set me up on one of we were just doing hitting lines between
Something.
games or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't like a Disney night, a random Disney night?
Those weren't until I was
those?
departing. That was my
I do
goodbye
remember
you-
farewell
right.
tour.
I let you like sleep on our extra futon.
Yes.
Because it was me and Spencer and Chris Tyler.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Freshie,
Chris,
Freshie.
So hot right
So
now.
hot. Right
Freshie.
now, that
So
Chris
hot
Tyler,
right
Not just that, but is he not just one of the nicest people?
is.
that you've
He really
ever met
is.
in the world?
He
He
I
really
really
mean,
is.
my goodness.
And
Like
he
it's
married his college sweetheart.
it's stupid
have,
how
I
he
think
just
two kids together, one kid, two kids.
shout out to the boy.
Hope he's doing well.
Well, before
But,
we sign off, do you guys remember the era of the cripple? Like during, I think it was like Nolan busted his leg,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sam did her ACL, and Tiff had her.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
And
thing
then
all at the same
Shalimar
time.
sprained both his ankles over in Iowa.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
got
Yeah.
wheelchaired.
Yeah,
I remember
know?
specifically.
But you know how I know? Because I had to take care of all four of them.
Correct.
All
You know-
four of them, not just
you know,
the
I
two
was on
that lived in
painkillers,
my
I don't
house.
remember
And then
And
Grace
the
did
other
her
two.
knee too. There was literally all
did
of our
her knee.
friends.
I
were
remember
all cripples.
specifically one night, like
Oh,
coming
yeah.
home
Oh my
to like the apartment, and like there being like 4 sets of crutches at the house. Like,
Everyone's just
it's like why are there so many crutches in here? Like everybody crutched their way into this apartment.
If it could have been avoided, it would have been avoided. But
I know, but it's just like I distinctly remember it.
Wait, who got first? Who got her first? You?
I don't
I
remember.
think
So
it
it's
was
your
Nolan.
fault.
Yeah.
So it's
Like,
your fault.
you started
Because
the chain
you started the
reaction.
chain
Bad luck
reaction.
train.
The
Yeah.
weirdest thing was I distinctly remember when we did the sprints, I went to the outside of the court because I was like, oh yeah, this is more open space. I can just do the sprint. And I literally did
Were
it
we living
last
together
minute.
when you got hurt?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I was like, I kind of remember
Because we had to
Wait.
put his wheelchair in his car.
this was
Yes.
first apartment,
I
right?
had a wheelchair, everybody.
That was
Yeah.
Sunny Hills.
First-
It was Sunny Hills.
Sunny. Oh, it
The
was
townhouse.
Sunny Hills. Okay,
The
okay.
townhouse,
gotcha.
the townhouse,
Okay, so it was a
Sunny
nicer
Hills.
one.
Because
Yeah.
we gave him the parking right outside.
You're
the
right.
apartment.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah,
he
yeah,
would
yeah,
be
okay.
able to.
Yeah, you're
And then
right.
I got the
Easily
handicap
access.
placard and was able to park.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then I
Yeah,
survived
that
an
makes-
earthquake at your guys' house. That
Oh
was
yeah,
crazy.
that was lit.
When the,
Yeah.
when the TV
The
freaking
big
broke,
TV
bro.
fell and
Oh,
shattered.
yeah.
Shower so bad, bro.
Dude, I get
I
it.
do
man.
remember that,
Yeah.
and I do also.
And it was a Hawaii
Yeah.
night. We were
I
freaking
don't know.
eating and drinking. I was
We
like,
really were.
bro,
It was a
I
vibe.
was underneath it, and I was like, "Where's my Heineken?" I was like, "Bring it under." Me and Evie are underwear, and they were like, "Bro, thank God."
But
we
in
have beer."
typical
Bro,
Shalimar fashion,
like-
the next day he gets a new TV for the house.
Yeah.
Legit though.
Facts.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's like, "Fuck this, bro. We need a TV in the
Yes.
downstairs living room."
Yes.
Oh
I
my
swear, I
gosh.
swear, we tried to convince him to buy everybody Xboxes at one point. Like,
He's still
it's like,
convinced him
I
to
mean, you
buy
just
some
have so
PC, Shal.
much. Yeah.
PS5, come on.
Sorry, we're just going way off topic here. Sorry.
No,
This could
it's
go
all
on for
good.
hours
Yeah.
if you
It
if you let
could.
us.
So we're going to kill it here. We'll save the video thing for another day. But, gentlemen, what an excellent first pilot episode. The origin stories, if you will, for our now coaching segment for the volleyball world that we're calling Team Huddle here on the Poi and Soy podcast. Where can everybody find you guys on social media? Jared, I'll start with you, and then Keone and Nolan, you can follow suit.
I am on Twitch and Instagram at jshirai, JSHIRAI, and on Twitter at jshirai808.
Excellent.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Kone. It's KAYOHKNEE.
And you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at NolanKYT, NOLANKYT.
And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Jalen Holsten, on Instagram at ArtByJalen, and at Twitch at MochaThanos_LGG. Thank you for stopping by, letting us entertain you with our amazing stories of how this trio really came together. We were excited to finally get this pilot episode done because, like, we wanted to do an origin episode for the podcast, but really, like, we also all coach, so we figured we'll meld the two together because really that's kind of how the podcast started, was volleyball anyway. So it was just a good time to run down memory lane for a bit. So, yeah,
Here
we'll
still.
catch you
Thanks
all.
for sticking around.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lengthy
It's
one.
good. It's a good time.
It's a long one, sorry.
If you want to, hit us up on social media. If you're a coach listening to this randomly, give us some stuff to talk about that you might find interesting, like topics like, parents, injuries, playing time. Like, some philosophy things.
Those
We'll
will be
see
some
what we can
heated
do.
episodes.
Your favorite drill.
Your favorite drill, yeah, send it to us. We'll
Favorite
look
drill
at
is the
it
one where they
live, and
run
we'll just kind of
my
maybe give you some
timeline.
pointers. Who knows? But yeah, we'll catch you all next time on the Point and Soy podcast for Team Huddle. I've been Jalen Holsten. They've been the rest of the crew. Good vibes and love, everybody.
Bang, bang.
Shoots.